Hey, what's up guys, I'm jacobgkau, I'm on the street, and today we are talking about Google's new announcements and updates from last week. Not sure what this is. So, last week, Google announced a few things. I think it was last week. And yeah, if you follow tech really closely, you probably know some of what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, basically Google announced more details about the new Android 4.4, which is codenamed KitKat. If you don't know, Android is always codenamed after a dessert. I don't know all of them, but I do know there was Froyo was 2, Gingerbread was 2.2, Honeycomb was 3.0. 4.0 is ice cream sandwich. 4.1 and 4.2 were jelly bean. Or maybe it was just 4.2. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so there are two downsides to using my phone as a camera. Alright, I don't even freaking remember where I was. The camera's crooked. And, yeah. So, Google, last week, Nexus 5 and Android 4.4. I guess I'll talk about Android 4.4 first, then I'll talk about the Nexus 5. Obviously, the Nexus 5 being made with direct input by Google is going to be optimized for Android 4.4. So, android.com/KitKat, you will get a little page. Now, before we talk about the technical features, Android 4.4 was originally going to be called Key Lime Pie. And they're probably going to use that name in the future just because, you know, they don't want to run into the same problem Apple had with cats and run out of dessert names to name their products. But, yeah, they basically partnered with KitKat, and they made the new version of Android codenamed KitKat. So, yeah, KitKat had a little thing going on where if you buy KitKat candy, then there was a chance that on the wrapper you could win either a Nexus 7 or Google Play credit, which is pretty cool, you know. I mean, it's not the most logical partnership, a tech company with a candy company, but, you know, why not? Why not? The Android story. Now, if you go to android.com/KitKat right now, they'll kind of have a walkthrough of all the different versions of Android, or the different major versions. But yeah, I'm going to learn, at the bottom it says learn more about KitKat. So I'm like, yeah, I want to learn more about Android KitKat. And it took me to KitKat's website. So yeah, don't click on that, click learn more about Android. More polished design, improved performance, and new features, which is, you know, the things that we generally look for in mobile operating system updates. You don't need to touch this. Alright, that is Nexus 5 only. Some of the stuff that they talk about is only on the Nexus 5, so it's like not really part of Android. So one new feature that they stress is you now have album art on your lock screen when you're listening to music. That's not really a major thing for me, but if you use your Android device as an iPod or an MP3 player, which I know a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, then yeah, just, album art on your lock screen. Apps now have the ability to take full control of the screen. What that means is, well, no, my Nexus is rooted, so it doesn't do that anyway. Basically, Android devices no longer have home buttons on the bottom, like physical home buttons. The home button is now a software button. So when you turn your device, then the home button moves on because it's part of the screen. And you've also got the status bar. So status bar at the top of the screen, menu buttons at the bottom of the screen. And basically in the past, even if you're doing something that requires your focus, it would still have the status and menu things on the screen. Apps now have the ability to take full control of the screen. So if you're reading a book is the example they give, or if you're playing a game, I think games could do this already, but I mean, yeah, if you're reading a book or playing a game or something that you really need to focus on, or you want that little bit extra screen real estate, then yeah, apps now have the ability to hide the menu bar and the status bar. I believe apps have the ability to change the background color of the top of the status bar. So yeah, we've got faster multitasking, which optimizes memory and improves your touchscreen. So yeah, it doesn't really give much detail there. They've got a rebooted contacts app that sorts people by who you talk to the most. Now, I would hope that there's a way to pin people to the top, because Facebook has that messaging thing on the side that's the people you talk to the most, but you don't have the ability to manually put people there, which I think is kind of stuck up and inconvenient. So yeah, hopefully there's a favorites in the new contacts app. Probably is. Caller ID, I'm not even going to stop for the alarm that's going off who knows where in my room, every day at 8 o'clock. New caller ID will automatically pull in information about businesses and display an appropriate picture. For instance, if it's like a veterinarian calling you, then it might put a picture of a dog on the screen. That is a very majestic picture of a dog that's on the screen there. So, yeah. The SMS app, the texting app, is no longer part of Android. At least I wouldn't imagine it is. We better still be recording. Like I said, SMS app, no longer part of Android. And now, the Google Hangouts app is actually what manages your text messages by default. I'm actually not sure if the SMS app is part of Android still or not. But by default, whenever you receive a text, you will no longer read the texts within the texting app. Now you will read your texts within the Google Hangouts app, which I love Google Hangouts. The Google Talk well, basically, here's what Google did. Google changed Google Chat to Google Hangouts, and what used to be called Google Hangouts is now called Google Hangout Parties. So, just to be clear here, when you're talking about Google Hangouts, you're talking about instant messaging. You're not talking about video calling. Video calling is now Google Hangout Parties. Don't ask me why. That's just if you go to Google+, or at least the last time I checked, that's what they were doing. They might have changed it again since then. You can now do Hangout, instant messaging, and texting in the same app, which is also the app that you would use to do a Hangout party, which is, I love Hangout Parties, because it's just a really good, really functional, multi-platform video conferencing thing. So yeah, honestly, I know some people said that the text messaging app was getting boring. It's text messaging. I mean, it either works or it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I had no problem with the old app, but yeah, that's been wiped out, and you will now use the Hangouts app for all texting, instant messaging, and video chatting. But not phone calls. They might want to do that next. New emoji, new, basically, smileys, that's available on the Google keyboard. Now, we all remember when emoji first started being used on the iPhone, and people who had Android would receive iPhone texts with emoji in them, or emails or anything with emoji from the iPhone, and it would just look like random characters. That's going to be what it would look like if you send stuff from Google devices, because basically they're saying this is part of Google's keyboard now. So email, texting, Hangouts, whatever, emoji is going to be on your keyboard. However, if you use Google's emoji, then if you send it to Apple's devices, or Blackberries, or dumb phones, or anything, then it will either be a different picture, another company's version of that emoji, or if you're not that lucky, then it'll just look like random characters. Emoji's fun if you know that someone else is on the same platform as you, but I don't think that something as open and cross-platform as texting should really use emoji that integratedly, I guess. Google has a service called CloudPrint, and they are further integrating that into Android. CloudPrint, basically, you can set up your printer plugged into a computer with Chrome on it, or if the printer has CloudPrint integrated into itself, then you can set that up to where your Android device or any other computer with Chrome on it can print to that printer, which I really, that would have been nice to have back when I needed it. Now I've got a printer in my house that connects to my wireless network automatically, and I remember I tried to use Cloud Print, and it did not work very well. I used Printer Share for a while, but that printed out an ad after everything I printed. Obviously Cloud Print doesn't do that, but yeah, I mean, better late than never, I guess. So, great. Google's File Manager now has the ability to pull in things from clouds, not one cloud, which I'm happy about. You know, Google or Apple is basically trying to get you to use iCloud. If you've got something stored in Dropbox or Google Drive, you're screwed. Obviously, you cannot get to iCloud from Google because they don't really have an APK. As far as I know, I don't think Apple has any tools for developers to put iCloud into their products with. I think Apple's just kind of saying iCloud is for us. But yeah, Google has now integrated, if you have Dropbox or Google Drive or anything else, then you'll be able to open from those cloud-based services as if they were on your device. So from any app, even if the app itself does not support clouds. Now it mentions Quick Office, your office anywhere. Create and edit documents, spreadsheets, and presentations from your phone or tablet with the newly redesigned Quick Office. Now, this is funny. Quick Office, if you'll notice, is now free. Now, if you go to the Play Store, at least online, you search Quick Office, it's gone. The other day, I went here and I searched Quick Office, right? And the old Quick Office came up, and I clicked on it, and it said, error, unable to, pull in information, but it was still showing up in the list. The old Quick Office is gone. So, if you're not aware, a couple of weeks ago, Apple basically said, alright, for anyone who buys a new iDevice or Mac, you are going to get the entire iWork suite that in the past has been $60, is now completely free. So, that's Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. Apple made their entire Office suite free. Google has Google Drive, but that's not a desktop Office suite, or that's not a local Office suite. That is a web app. So, Apple's got that too. So, Apple made their Office suite free. Google doesn't really have an Office suite. What do? They pick the prominent Office suite on Android, which was Quick Office. Well, you've probably heard of that before if you're on Android. Quick Office was the most popular Office app on Android. It, at one point, was quite popular on iOS. I bought Quick Office for $8 on iOS back when I used my iPod a lot, and I bought it on my Android device. But because Apple has, made their stuff free, Apple made iWork free, what does Google do? They go out, buy Quick Office, and make it free. So yeah, I know I'm talking like very peppily about this. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks that I bought Quick Office and now they made it free, but I have no problem with them doing this. Google buying out other companies, I really don't care enough. That doesn't affect my ethics at all. I think it's fine if Google wants to buy companies. I just find it interesting and amusing that Apple makes their thing free, so what does Google do? They just go and buy something, they buy the equivalent, and make it free. It's like, am I the only one who finds that entertaining? Alright. So yeah, Quick Office is now free, and I'm going to install, which you can do from the web now. I can just, from my computer, alright, Quick Office is now being installed on my Nexus 7. Actually, it would be if it wasn't in airplane mode across the room. Across the room doesn't matter, airplane mode does. Bluetooth map support. Alright, you can now connect your Android Bluetooth device to your car. Great. Chromecast support, which, this is another example of, that would have been great when I wanted it. A few years ago, I used to like giving PowerPoint presentations to my family about just random crap, because I liked giving presentations, and I really wanted a way I could connect my laptop to my TV without plugging in a VGA cable. Just wirelessly have my screen on the TV. Chromecast, 3 years later, does exactly that with Google Chrome installed. So yeah, once again, I love Chromecast, and I don't have one, but it's not that complicated of a thing. So Chromecast is great. Android now has support for it. Chrome Web View. Applications can now basically be web apps. So sorry, I oversimplified that. Applications can now use Google Chrome as a back-end rendering machine. So yeah, good. Closed captioning. So I'm guessing that would like if you get a text, it would say text tone at the bottom of your phone. I don't know. Device management built in. So, Android Device Manager. Basically, find my iPhone for Android. I mean, yeah. That's up to you if you like the idea of Find My iPhone or not. I like the idea of Find My iPhone. I mean, I've used it before, so, yeah. Now, I don't like the idea of Find My Friends, but that's another story. Downloads app redesign. Downloads app redesign. I don't use the Downloads app. Usually I just go into my file manager and open the Downloads folder. So yeah. Easy home screen switching. Go Launcher. That's the only one I can think of at the moment. Android's got tons of apps you can download to basically be replacement home screens. Now, in the past, it's kind of been buggy because, you know, it worked good, but you might accidentally crash that home screen and land in the normal home screen. The normal home screen might still be taking up system resources. So yeah, basically now, Google's done something pretty cool. They said, okay, we understand that not everybody's going to like our home screen, and if you've got one from the Play Store that you like better than ours, then you can just set that to the default, and we will send everything, all your notifications and everything, straight there, because we support your decision and not liking everything that we do immediately. Apple, that would be pretty nice. Email app refresh, full screen wallpapers, HDR photography, infrared blasting, I think is really cool. I got into like infrared and enjoying using it just, I don't know, when I realized that Macs used infrared. But they used to make infrared like, instead of plugging in a USB drive, you would have like a drive, flash drive, inside of a case that you pointed a computer's infrared receptor, and you could, like, use that. I think that would be futuristic and cool. This is not for, well, TVs and other nearby devices. So this is mainly so that you can use your Android phone to control TVs with, because TV remotes use infrared too. But I still think it would be really cool if I could, like, point my phone at my computer's infrared sensor, and it could exchange information. Think about it. That would be in Star Trek. If you're looking for the next big thing, Samsung, make that. So yeah, location and quick settings. You can now turn on and off location data, which I usually turn off location information just when I'm not using it. Just because, you know, the NSA and America Constitution. Low power audio playback. Oh, that's Nexus 5 only. You can now seek through your music from your lock screen. You can also seek through movies from your lock screen, although I would think you would want your device to be unlocked if you were watching a video, because, you know, you would actually be looking at it. But yeah, music, you can search through, scrub through, you know, skip to different locations of your music from the lock screen. Apps now use security-enhanced Linux. It says sandboxes. I'm going to assume that's the same sandboxes Chrome uses. So if one of your apps crashes, it doesn't affect any of the other ones, and apps cannot steal data from each other. They are all within their own virtual environments. Tap to pay, built in a new way. Rhymes. Oh, so in open architecture for NFC payments, so Google Wallet, you can now tap to pay. I think it would be pretty cool to, you know, pull out my iPhone, or pull out my iPhone running Android, I think it would be cool to use Google Wallet. None of the stores I know of that I frequent, I actually don't frequent stores. I don't know of any stores that use Google Wallet, but in the future, I think that would be pretty cool. Wonder if the Bitcoin, that would be really cool if like the Bitcoin app worked with Google Wallet. I don't know. Touchscreen, alright, that's Nexus 5. Alright, as you can tell, Google is really popularizing the Nexus 5, and that's fine. I mean, it's their device, and it looks pretty good. You know, in my opinion, it's not as cool as the iPhone 5S looks, simply because it doesn't have a fingerprint sensor. I really want a fingerprint sensor now. Like, if I get an iPhone, the only thing better than iPhone than Android right now is that iPhone has a fingerprint sensor, and no Android phone that I know of right now has one. Anyway, the Nexus 5 starts at $400 unlocked. Maybe you don't understand what that means. A normal phone, for instance an iPhone, would cost $200 on a contract. However, if you want to get that without a contract, that's going to be about $600. This, without a contract, is $400. Nexus 4 without a contract was $200. So you could get a Nexus 4 without cell phone usage and just use it like an iPod Touch for about the same price as the iPod Touch. This is a little more expensive than the iPod Touch. And you can buy it without a contract. Buy it without AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, anybody getting involved, and just buy the Nexus 5 and use it as an MP3 player or whatever for $400. As a camera, as a gaming pocket thing, just whatever. An internet tablet. But yeah, $400. Now, with a contract, that's probably going to be... I have no idea how that's going to be with a contract. Probably around 100 or 200. I mean, yeah. Advanced new lens. Okay. I'm assuming it's not 1440p because they usually want to say that if it is. I think 1440p is great. I've got a 1440p monitor. There's no way I'm going to watch 1440p video, because what's the point unless I'm doing it full screen on a 1440p monitor? Most consumers have 1080p monitors. I do all my videos in 1080p. That's fine. I'm recording this with a cell phone right now, and apart from lighting issues caused by the unfortunate habit of recording videos at night, it looks fine, doesn't it? I've had people comment, oh, that's actually a pretty good video for recording with a cell phone, and I agree. 8 megapixels, Atrix 2, but do not buy anything from Motorola. I take that back. Motorola, you suck. Don't buy anything from Motorola. For being owned by Google, you really suck. Like, you would suck as a company on your own, but the fact that Google owns you just makes it worse how bad you are. Anyway, new lens on the camera. I'm sorry. I've got my Minecraft server running here, and what was that? Was that like 4 hours? That's like new record. Shout out to Tyler Goodhart for making it to the Twilight Forest in 4 hours. Gonna turn that screen off now so that I don't get distracted. So yeah, new lens, once again. HDR plus mode, so better colors by day, less noise at night. Advanced camera, basically. Better quality. Although not a higher resolution, still better quality. And Nexus 5 comes with Photosphere. 360-degree view that no camera can match. I cannot wait to try this or the iPhone's panoramic or something that is better than the one on my phone. Speed and power. Alright, 5-inch display. iOS started on 3.5-inch displays. That's fine for me. It's fine. Really, that's fine. 3.5, you don't need to go any bigger. Then, the iPhone 5 had, like, a 4-inch display? You know? If you're going to make big screens, put them on tablets. And make them 13 inches. Because I'm still waiting for the 13-inch tablet. But believe me, I am not waiting for the 6-inch phone. Honestly, my tablet is what I'm going to use if I am worried about screen size. My phone, I am worried about battery life, camera quality, sound quality, anything but screen size. So yeah, the bezel is tiny. So yeah, I mean, the bottom has a bit of a bezel considering there's no buttons there, and the top has some bezel where the camera is, but the sides, like, really no bezel at all. This is 8.59 millimeters, so less than 9 centimeters thick, about 140 centimeters tall, and yeah, 5-inch display. So full HD. I'm guessing that's a 1080p then, if it's full HD. I know that the Nexus 4 the Nexus 4 did not have super high. The Nexus 10 has super high screen resolution. And there is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor running at 2.26 gigahertz. Is that quad-core? It's not 64-bit for sure. I'm not sure if it's quad-core or what. But 2.26 gigahertz is more than half of my computer. So, you know, I would consider that powerful, yeah. And you can now say the phrase, "OK Google," to turn on Google Now. Basically, Google's version of Siri that's a little bit more web-centric. And yeah, just say, "OK Google," to basically is the equivalent of holding down the home button on an iPhone to activate Siri. Say, "OK Google" on the Nexus 5 to activate Google Now. Why OK Google? I have no idea where they came up with that phrase from, but I can tell you that it is the same with Google Glass, which I will be making a video about, like, the day it comes out. Say OK Google on any of your new Google devices basically is what they're going for. That's going to be the universal phrase. OK Google, set an alarm for this time, or OK Google, call this person. Just, you know. And of course, because it's a Nexus device, best of Google, you will always get new Android updates on a Nexus device. Pretty much all apps in the App Store will work with your Nexus device. And yeah, Google Apps on your Nexus device, great. Yeah, check out Google's website, which I will link in the description for this. That's a pain in the butt that I say that, because that basically says, okay, now you have to link it in the description. But let's see, full HD in-plane switching display. Yep, 1080p display, so 445 ppi, very high definition, very small pixels. 1080p is basically the same as most monitors. Less than this monitor, but same as most monitors. Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Gorilla Glass, great. 1.3 megapixel front facing. 8 megapixel rear facing, which is the same as my camera. 1080p, 8 megapixel. I still don't get how they can have different megapixels but all be 1080p. See, I'm not a hardware guy at all. I'm just reading this stuff. It is 4.59 ounces, 130 grams, 4.59 ounces. Okay, that can't be right. Because according to this, wait, that's mass. Do we have weight? Mass and weight are not the same thing. Can somebody please tell Google that mass and weight are not the same thing? Thank you. Anyway, okay, if this is really 4.59 ounces, then it is 0.28, so about 0.3 of a pound. Oh, so the iPhone 5S is 0.25 pounds. Okay. Never mind, I thought that was impressive, but it's not, because it's more than the iPhone 5S still. You can tell the video's almost over, because I'm stumbling over everything I'm saying. Talk time up to 17 hours. It's a 2300 milliamp hour battery. I think I read that right. And wireless charging built in. Wireless charging built in. Can't get that on iPhone. Basically, I think that it's something like you get a little sort of touchstone type device that Palm used to make, that I loved back when Palm made it. Not the same technology, but the same concept. It's basically a little pad that you plug in to USB or whatever, or AC. Put your Nexus on top of it, and it charges wirelessly. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Built-in speaker, and 3.5 millimeter. Wow. Who would have guessed? Alright, so like I said, Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor running at 2.3 gigahertz. The GPU graphics processor is an Adreno 330 running at 450 megahertz. Not the best thing that I have ever heard of. Obviously not NVIDIA, not anything. You can really tell the video is almost over when the camera starts cutting out. Alright, so even though not a great graphics processor, you get 2 gigs of RAM, which is pretty good for an Android device. 32 gigs of internal storage. They don't have multiple... Oh, yeah, you can get 16 or 32 gigabyte versions of this. And there is there? Oh, there's not. There's not an SD card slot in here. Micro USB port on it, of course, for plugging into things. Slim port. I don't know what that is. Audio jack. Dual microphones. So, not sure what the dual microphones do. I think it might be stereo for video recording. Although, there's obviously got to be one for talking. Ceramic power and volume buttons. Not sure how well that's going to work out. Sensors. I love all the sensors the Nexus 7 has. The accelerometer. Or was that the iPhone? I can't remember which one had the accelerometer first. I really love I love the idea. You really don't get apps utilizing the gyroscope and the accelerometer. I was talking about a gyroscope a minute ago. I'm not impressed by an accelerometer. iPhones have had accelerometers since the first generation. No, I was talking about the gyroscope. Before I embarrass myself more, sensors include accelerometer, GPS, compass, proximity proximity sensor, which also serves as an ambient light sensor, or vice versa, I think. Gyroscope, pressure sensor, that's just the touch screen, obviously, and Hall effect. Do not ask me what that is in the comments. Network, 2G, 3G, and 4G, and I've got 4G. I've only got 200 megabytes of data, so I don't use it all that often, but GSM, alright, you can just read this stuff. I'm not going to read through a bunch of random numbers. So, unlocked, so if you buy this for $400 unlocked, then you can use it with any provider that offers service on Nexus 5 supported networks. Okay, so basically if you buy this off contract, you can get it through T-Mobile or Sprint month to month. Or you can buy it on contract from AT&T or Verizon, I would imagine. That's basically everything. Google didn't really do much. They did update the Google Glass, which basically, the only couple things I remembered were Google Glass is now no longer tied to one piece of glasses. It's no longer glasses. Google Glass is not glasses anymore. Now it's basically just something that clips on to your glasses. So yeah, there's that. And then Google Glass also now comes with an in-ear headset or an in-ear speaker, rather than before it actually had something that sounds really cool, called a bone conductive speaker. So instead of actually playing sounds out loud, it would send vibrations through your bones in your head that would give you sound. But that only worked on and off, didn't work that good. So yeah, if you're a Google Glass explorer, or if you're wanting to get Google Glass when it eventually comes out, then yeah, they refreshed that, so you can check that out. But yeah, that was everything Google talked about. They did not update the Nexus 7 or anything as far as I know. So yeah, Nexus 5 is made by LG. So, kind of lost track of who made it, at what points in time, the Nexus 4, but yeah, Nexus 5 is made by LG. So yeah, before this video gets too long, thanks guys for watching. Let me know if there's any other questions you guys have about the Nexus 5 or Google stuff, or Apple stuff, or any stuff. I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm on the streets, and I will see you later. See ya.